Alright, I'm super excited about this well, it's not really unboxing anymore, but I'll just review this receiver that I got off GetFPV. This is an OTG cable, and it's meant to just plug into a cell phone and deliver the FPV feed from, I'm just going to use this as an example. So, okay, excuse me trying to do this one-handed. First of all, this cable is directional. You gotta plug it in. It's got a micro USB on both ends, but you've got to plug in the right end into the right component or it won't work. So there, I've got that plugged in. I should recognize it, and the default is already set to open GetFPV. Okay, so actually I want to show you what happens when I just run GetFPV without it plugged in. You get this message. So sometimes I've gotten, looks like this device does not have a UVC driver. It'll probably not work. Plug it in, and if you want to try it anyway. And sometimes I've got the message, oh, you're ready to go, just plug in your camera. So in either case, I plug it in, and I get fuzzy screen. Okay, so right now this is showing the binocular view, and here's just the camera view. So kind of the full screen. I mean, you can go fuller screen. It changes slightly, but if you tap on it, the menu goes away. It does go into landscape view by default. Okay, so if I plug in the camera, you will see, there we are. There's a very picture of a picture distorted camera. I've got the Swift Mini going on there. So there's that, and then this little button will give you binocular view, and it just so happens that I have a Google Cardboard, and it works amazingly. Honestly, it works soups good. I want to show you this again with the one-handed action, and lining it up. Just try it. Okay, we are. It just works really well. So this is what you're seeing in there. You know, obviously you can't ever get a goggle view to really show what it's like through a camera, but it actually works really, really amazingly well. So there's a setting on here that I've tweaked with, and that's there's the settings, and that's the eye padding. It just gives you it sort of gives you this black border. Okay, so whenever I go into settings and back out again, it crashes. I don't get the feed anymore. So I exit and I run it again, and we're back in business. Okay, so this black border right here on both sides goes completely away. It fills up this whole spot. I found that to be like actually the edges were running out of my viewing angle through the Google Cardboard. So I zoomed it in or shrunk that image down a little bit, so that this actually works pretty well. This gives a wider view angle than my HD2s, but you can adjust that padding size. So you can also record, and again the full screen. Oh, okay, I guess you can zoom that way too, and then go back out. Oh, okay, well that's cool. So you can adjust it that way. Go back into singular view, and you can zoom in and out that way. It doesn't really zoom, it just makes the picture go bigger or smaller. So, as far as latency, I mean, that's the big issue with these things, is latency, right? There's a pretty healthy latency in this adapter, which, I mean, is not surprising at all. You can pause the video and look at the difference there. So the results of the latency testing was about 80 milliseconds, which is kind of not surprising. That's on the order of, like, I have a GoPro Hero 3 and I think it gives about 50 or 60 milliseconds, so it's unflyable if you're doing proximity stuff. But there's a single tiny button on this receiver, and I'm gonna do a short press, and you can see it gives the actual frequency here. Just let me see if I can change the camera view so you can actually read that. So it shows the frequency in megahertz and then the percent, and I think that's like a signal strength indicator. And if I long press it, I get a graph there, and so it's flipping through the channels. You can see the frequency range, and looks like I'm getting some noise up top, but then it flips right to the strongest frequency, which is the one I'm apparently transmitting on. So I mean, that's what you got to do to start out, and then of course you can just cycle through it. Okay, that's interesting. It's not actually channels. It's just going up 2 megahertz at a time. So you can really tune into anything with this. So then again, a long press will just cycle through, and I wonder if you can't really stop it. I wonder if a long press will stop. Now, once you long press to start the frequency scan, then you just gotta let it go all the way through, and then it flips to the strongest frequency. I don't really know what happens when you have like several frequencies, but that is the extent of the operation of this button, which is the only button on here as far as I can tell. Okay, this does also have a Pico blade connector on here that's labeled AV5G, which I assume is audio video 5 volt and ground. Maybe that's an AV output and another way to power it. So if you give it 5 volts there, you probably get AV out, and then it works like a standard receiver. Good for like just an extra camera for like a friend to look at, or somebody who walks up to you and you want to show them the camera feed, or if you want to record. The recording on here actually works a lot better than the recording on my HD2s, the DVR on the goggles. So although the goggles have better antenna, so I don't know, we'll see. So this my review of the Otg UVC receiver I got from GetFPV. So thanks for watching. Post any questions, because I'm sure there's things I forgot, and I'll try to answer them. Thank you.